Do we have some questions?
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't
Last
do a
time we
shout
didn't
on
have
my,
any.
Didn't do a shout on my... Okay, so here we go. We're on Facebook Live, and here I am with Julian. He's the auctioneer tomorrow, our resident friendly auctioneer.
Thanks very much, Fuzz. Yeah, that's right. We have our auction tomorrow here at Manor Park Classics. We kick off at 1 o'clock prompt. At 1 o'clock prompt.
Okay, so there are no delays. We are selling, not today, but tomorrow. But we've got some stonking cars here. How many lots do we have?
We have, I think it's 81 lots of cars. We
Yep.
have 8 lots of motorcycles.
Yep.
And we have about 10 lots of registration plates. So about 101 lots in total.
And also, at the moment, the Automobilia Auction is live. So that's an online auction that will be going on until tomorrow. And what you can do, of course, is you can register to bid on there, and you can bid for those lots of Automobilia. There's no sniping at the end of the lot, because if you try and snipe right at the very end, then the auction will carry on for a little bit longer on that particular thing.
Yeah, and those lots are finishing tomorrow, aren't they? Between, I think, is it about 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock they finish? Starting from 10, yes. So they start to finish from 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I need to get registered to bid, actually.
Oh, there are a few things you fancy?
There are a few things I fancy.
Petrol pump?
Well, actually, that is a lovely petrol pump.
It's enormous.
It is.
It's the biggest petrol
Thank
pump
you
I've
very
ever seen
much.
in my life.
Right, I see.
The petrol pump, Fuzz.
Yes, okay, it is. It is enormous. And in fact, yeah. Right, okay. So what? Let's come and have a look at this petrol pump. Come on. I've just been pointed at to come and have a look at it. Look at the size of that.
I know. This is genuinely the largest petrol pump I've ever seen. It's been fully restored, of course.
Yeah.
But we've got the nice glass globe. Well, we've got the shell globe at the top. We've got these glass fillers as well that would have been full of petrol back in the day. The hoses for shell, of course. And it's French.
Yeah, it is. It does look absolutely stonking. I think that's a magnificent period piece. I know somebody who'd like that, actually, thinking about it.
Really?
Yeah. I think I might make a little call. That is beautiful. I would love that. If I had an impressive motor room, I would certainly go for that as one of my centerpieces.
Yeah, I think it would have to be a hell of a man cave if you were going to put it in your man cave, because it's just so tall.
That's right. That's right. So, hopefully, a few people will ask us a few questions. Maybe, if you ask us a few questions, we may have some answers for you. And I'm standing by my favourite car of the auction, the Acr Seeker. This is a beautiful piece of kit, and I would dearly love to be bidding on this. But if I did that, then I don't suppose I'd have a home to go to afterwards.
Maybe not. People may not realise this has got a Ford Zodiac engine in it.
That's right, but that's original spec.
That's right.
Yeah, with a Raymond Mays head.
Yep, we've got triple carburettors on this one as well.
Oh, 3 better than 2.
Always, always. And in period, even today, this is going to be no slouch. But can you imagine owning one of these in period?
I know, that would have been amazing. The only thing is, of course, you'd have had all of those A roads and all of those people pottering about in Ford Pops, and you'd need them to get out of the way.
Well, they'd soon get out of the way, wouldn't they? It would give you an excuse just to drop it down a cog or two and put your foot down.
That's right, but that glorious tail end disappearing off into the
distance. That's right.
What a treat! What a treat for all those drivers of slow cars.
That's right. Yes.
So, do we have any questions yet? Come on, folks. Okay, got a question. Okay, so from the auction, if we had to pick 2 cars, one as a best and the other one as a daily driver, which would we pick? Well, I've just spoken about this Acr Seeker, and I have to say that this Acr Seeker would be my car. I might even use it as a daily driver, but no, I would use this as my best. Now, as a daily driver, I would probably go for something like, I'm going to steal Julian's one. Oh. I'm going to go for the Scirocco GT2.
Right.
Definitely. Okay. Usable car, great shape,
Yep.
looks stonking,
Yep.
and
Yep.
yeah, you
That's
can
a
get in
great
it.
choice as a daily driver, but obviously we can't share that, unfortunately, now that you've bagged it.
No, so what are you going for?
Daily, I was going to say for the collection, but now it's going to have to be my daily driver. I'm
Yeah.
going to go for the XJS.
Oh, the yellow XJS.
V12.
That's your daily driver.
Daily driver.
Daily driver. You have deep pockets.
You know me, Fuzz. I like plenty of cylinders. The more cylinders, the better. And we've got 12 on that one, so I can put up with the fuel. And
Yep.
it's a pre-HE as well, like I said earlier, full fat one. So that's going to be what, 10 to the gallon?
Okay, right, 10 to the gallon. Right, okay, so how many miles do you drive daily?
To work and back, that's about a 45-mile trip.
What, each way?
No, there and back.
Okay, so that's you're talking about a 25 quid commute.
Yeah, that's okay. That's doable.
Yeah, all
yeah,
right.
I would
okay.
say so.
Another question for both of you, please.
Yes.
Yep.
If you had to pick your top 3 cars in the auction that you consider to be an appreciating asset,
Right.
what do you think
Right.
Okay, appreciating assets, but hold on. You haven't picked your best car yet.
Or best car for the collection, I'm going to pick this absolutely fabulous Jaguar E-Type.
You're
Now,
going all Jag.
yeah, I am, I'm afraid. Again, that's not just because it's got plenty of cylinders, but this one, originally from America, it's still still left-hand drive rather than right-hand drive, but this has been through a full rotisserie restoration.
Right.
Everything's been done on this car, and for the price, for our guide price, this is worth every single penny, and this would be in my collection to keep it in this condition. You know,
Lovely.
this is
Been on a rotisserie like a chicken.
like a chicken, but I haven't seen many chickens come off a rotisserie looking quite like this.
That's right.
They
No,
tend
this-
to be a little bit burnt at the edges, don't they? A little bit singed.
No, this one's not roasted. This one is hot.
Yep.
Absolutely hot. So sorry, what was the question again? I digress.
Three.
Thinking about the cars that are in the auction, if you can pick 3 that you feel are increasing in value over the next 3 to 5 years, I've been asked,
Yep.
Okay, Julian, you go first.
Okay, I'll pick the Ford Escort Cosworth.
Yep, good
That's
call.
That's number one. That's number one. That's going to go stratospheric. They're going to get out of everybody's reach unless, like you've said, you've got very, very deep pockets. That's number one. Number 2, I'm going to pick the Toyota Celica, which we can't really see here. We have
blue one?
Yeah, the blue. We have it's only a 1.6. I say only
Should we
a
go over and have a
1.6
look?
ST. Yep.
Come on.
I'm going to pick that as my second choice. The reason being, these cars have been overlooked for a very long period of time.
Okay.
This one is a coupe. It's not a liftback. It's a 1.6 ST. So still, even in today's market, this is still being overlooked, this particular model.
Yep.
But it won't be very long until people realise there's absolutely none of them left. So that's my number 2.
Okay, that's good. With an estimate of £2,000 to £3,000,
Yep.
what a great starter classic. Yes, it needs a little bit of fettling, but actually, it's in stunningly original condition. It's had a little bit of work here and there,
Yep.
but a lot of it is original.
Yeah. And the third one is in here as well.
Yep.
Now, I wouldn't have said this until very recently. Triumph
GT6?
Spitfire Gt6.
A GT6.
And that's not just because the gentleman's looking at her, but we've noticed the values of these are already on quite a rapid rise. There seems to be much more demand than supply for these particular vehicles, and I feel that's going to carry on. They're very thin on the ground to find a nice one, as anybody will tell you if they're actually looking for these cars. So that's going to be my third choice.
Okay, so that's £8,000 to £10,000.
Yep.
Okay, that's good. Right. So
Your turn.
I've got to pick an appreciating asset.
Yeah.
Ooh, an appreciating asset. Now that is a tricky one because you've stolen some of the great ones.
That's because
Right,
I went
okay.
first.
Okay, right. I'm going to go for an entry-level one, which is the Ford Escort Xr2i. It's a late model
Genius.
XR2i.
Genius.
And I can't remember what the estimate is on it. Can you remember?
I think it's only 4,000.
Okay, so £4,000 to £5,000 estimate. Now, it's a fast Ford. Fast Fords generally are a good investment. Now, that one may not go up to stratospheric heights of an Escort Cosworth or anything like that, but what a great car to have and to look after. A little bit of work, do a little bit of work, bit of work, just cosmetic stuff that it needs here and there. and just enjoy it. And that will be a good one to start with. If you've got 4,000 or 5,000 quid that's sitting in a bank account at the moment, then instead of having it in the bank account, have that in your lovely garage and enjoy it. And I'm absolutely positive you'll get a better return than you will on your money in the bank.
Yeah,
so
good choice.
What else are we going to go for? I'm going to go for, let's have a look. It's got to be an appreciating classic. What are you pointing at?
I'm trying to nudge you in the direction.
Of the Jaguar?
No, of the TR7.
The TR7, I suppose the TR7. Yeah, that's true. If you're looking for, again, an investment that is not going to actually break the bank at the moment, then yeah, TR7's good. This one has one lady owner. Now, this one is in really great original condition, £5,000 to £7,000. Okay, yeah, little bits of work that could be sort of done just to help preserve it. But as a preserved car, it's a nice little machine.
Yeah, and I would say as these pick up interest, this ticks all the boxes, doesn't it? Very low mileage, one lady owner from new, original condition. And
it's that period now where people are now interested in these cars. You people are out there, and you know that that when you eventually get to have some spare money, you tend to be maybe in your 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's generational.
These were the cars that were around. These were the cars that were new. Now let's have a look. What else am I going to go for? Well, there are a couple of cars that I would like to sort of point out. I'm going to say the Acr Seeker again, because the Acr Seeker is not going to lose you any money.
No, definitely not.
No, I think that's a great car. Can we find that? It's way over there. But also, I'm getting a little sort of hankering towards Mark II Jaguars again.
You like this one, don't you?
Now, if I'm starting to hanker after cars, that tends to be when I can't afford them anymore. And if I can't afford them anymore, that means that they're going up in value. Now, I can't remember what this one is estimated at, but this one has had plenty of work done on it.
40 to 50.
40 to 50,000 pounds. Now, I can tell you, to restore one of these cars, if you're having it done professionally, would cost you an awful lot more than that. This one's got a Jaguar XJ40 auto box in it, instead of the original Borg-Warner Type 35, which was only a 3-speed. It's a 3.8. It's got uprated brakes. It's got uprated loads of stuff on it. It is beautiful. It's got belts in the back as well, so it's a good usable family classic. Okay. So it might be at the higher end of that sort of usable market, but actually, I think treating this well and looking after it, it'll hold its money, and again, much better than putting an investment in the bank account at the moment. So those are our choices, really. I've chosen 4. You chose 3.
There we go, pop pickers.
Yeah, I've got to say though, every time Julian's right. Fast Fords do it. Everybody knows Fords, everybody wanted Fords, and so there aren't enough to go around. And so it's as simple as that. If you want to put your money somewhere, I'd go for a fast Ford. Yep,
I would. Yep, supply and demand always dictates that they leap in value. As soon as they become popular, as soon as that XR2, like you've said, that's from 91, isn't it? So that period's just starting to pick up all the interest, as we've already touched on. So once everybody is all in on that particular period of car, they'll just leap in value.
That's right. Buy it, put it away if you don't want to use it, and then sell it on in a few years' time. So, do we have any other questions? Oh, okay.
Well, all these cars run on unleaded petrol. Can you go to a petrol station, anywhere you find, fill up and go?
That's a good question.
Okay, right. Now, most of your cars dating from the 80s and 90s onwards will run fine on unleaded. Now, cars before that will also run fine on unleaded. However, it depends on the sort of use. Now, if it's a competition car or an engine that's going to be that's going to see sort of heavy use, so maybe a faster car or a more performance car, then it's a good idea to put a little bit of additive in. I personally use Tetra Boost. I've got a Jensen 541R from 1959. It's a bit tastier, a bit thirstier, and it runs really well with Tetra Boost, which actually contains tetraethyl lead. But there are a number of different types of additive that you can put in, but always put the correct amount in. I think that's preferable to doing loads of engine work just straight off, because really you want to get out and use your car rather than pull it apart straight away. So that's my recommendation. What do you think?
Yeah, good advice. I mean, there's, I wouldn't not agree with you there, Fuzz, at all. But what you'll tend to find in some of the history files of some of the cars that we've got in, some of them already have unleaded head conversions.
Yeah.
They've had the valves worked at,
So
you know,
if
to
you've
make.
got hardened valve seats,
Yeah.
stainless valves, all that kind of thing, that's great. You know, if the car's already had that, then that's fine. You can run it you can run them happily on unleaded. Just make sure that the octane is right, so that you've got the correct octane going in. Again, you can use additives, but unless you're sort of like really doing sort of, you know, long-legged miles up and down motorways all the time, then you shouldn't find that the engine will suffer from any extent of valve seat recession. So my personal view is use it as you normally would. If it's a performance car, maybe get it converted, or certainly use an additive. And you know, sort of failing that, when the engine does need rebuilt, yes, have hardened seats put in, and you'll be absolutely fine. Do we have any more questions?
Well, I'll give you a question.
Go
We've
on,
just
then.
spoken about unleaded fuel in classic cars.
Yes.
I'd like to know your views on E10 petrol in classic cars.
E10, as in ethanol. So
Ethanol.
we're talking 10%.
Yep.
10% ethanol petrol. Right. Okay. So ethanol is hygroscopic. That's hygroscopic rather than hydroscopic. Hygroscopic means that it will absorb the moisture from the air, absorb water from the air. So, if you're using E10 petrol, then you've got problems there, especially if you store your car for any length of time. It will absorb water, and you could end up with a little film of water in the bottom of your fuel tank, which means if it's a steel fuel tank, it could rot out. But also, the ethanol does not treat various older rubber fuel hoses very well, and also can mess up with copper and brass items and so on and so forth within the fuel line. And so, the easiest solution to that is to put some sort of ethanol stabilizer or fuel stabilizer in, which will help to overcome the effects of the ethanol. But I would also recommend replacing things like fuel hoses so that they're of the grade that can withstand ethanol as well. So those are things to do.
I'm going to have a lot of work to do when I get home.
Yeah, you are, but that's because you don't use your cars enough.
I know. I have a 7-car fleet, of which quite a few are quite inert, unfortunately. So yeah, my own fault.
When you say inert, does that mean they are sitting on the drive?
Yes,
And
they are.
Have not been used for a long time.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Are you a car hoarder?
I may very well be a car hoarder. I find it hard to let them go.
Yeah.
Because I've let so many good cars, we can all say that, of course, but I've let so many good cars go in the past that I have a real reluctance and inertia to actually letting them go. So as long as I've got space on the drive, there she goes.
This man has a Blackpool tram that he's busy underseeing the restoration of. So that's a big project. I'd suggest that's a big enough project without having loads of...
So I should just be concentrating on the tram?
Concentrate on the tram. Maybe a couple of cars.
Okay. The drawback is I can't get the tram on the drive.
No, that's very true.
Whereas the cars are nice and accessible just outside the property.
All right, okay. Well, I think we need to have a sit down, a cup of tea, a biscuit, and a little word about that, because tram obsessions are one thing, but owning a tram, that's another thing.
Okay.
You've got to have your own. Have you got your own track?
No, I haven't got my own track. I'm going to borrow the track at Blackpool to run it on.
Right. Okay.
So very kindly, they're going to let me run up and down on the track, so that's great.
That's very nice.
Yep, it is. Yeah.
That's very nice. Is it nearly finished?
What would you class as nearly?
Estimated. Okay. Give us
Are we talking time or money?
Give us an estimate on time.
Estimate on time, I'm probably about 2 years away.
Oh, that's pretty good.
But I've been saying that for the last 5 years.
Right.
which is pretty bad. So yeah, hopefully, I'm hoping we are only we're in the final 2 years. I hope.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's an honourable thing. Now, do we have any more questions?
Questions, very quick one. Are you going to set up a tram set like Fuzz has his train sets?
Oh, now there's a very good question. Now, if I had to do it in 1-to-1 scale, like I said, I'm very fortunate I'm going to be able to run it at Blackpool, so I personally don't have to set one up at all. As far as a model railway is concerned, as I've said to Fuzz earlier, I'm a frustrated railway modeler, just like I'm a frustrated classic car owner. I won't say what else I'm frustrated with, we better not. So from that perspective, yes, I would love to have a layout, but I haven't got the room, I'm afraid to say.
Yes.
Sympathetic modern upgrades, coping better with modern traffic.
Yes.
Where do you sit with the sympathetic modern upgrades or keeping them original?
Okay, so I don't know the history of this particular car, but if it needed a full restoration, then there's no reason why this shouldn't have been put together for the owner of the car, so it could be used as that owner wanted to use it. Now, I think, looking at it, it looks great. It's still a nice place to be inside. You've got lots of wood. It's got a black leather interior. I think it's a great period of piece. There's enough originality in there. There's enough originality in here to still know that you're in a Mark II Jaguar. But then, of course, it's an automatic. I believe it was an automatic anyway. But originally, it would have had that BW Type 35 3-speed slushy gearbox, which is not really a performance gearbox. But now with the Jag XJ40 box, the additional extra ratio is a much better thing, which means that you're getting better use of the engine and across its power band. I think it looks brilliant. It looks like a Mark II Jaguar.
Yeah.
It's going to sound like a Mark II Jaguar, and it was an automatic anyway. I think the upgrades are great, and yeah, so each to their own on that. Had it have been an original Mark II Jaguar in this condition, and then it had been modified, well, again, it's the owner's it's the owner's choice. But I probably would have said, well, get one that's already been done.
Yeah, it's a very, very tasteful resto mod, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah. Resto modding is fine. I'm okay with resto modding.
Yeah.
If it makes the cars more usable, that's great. And also, if it allows cars, as we're going to see in the future, if it allows cars to have full use in our towns and cities, go one step further, go electric.
Yep, and I think that's the way it's going to have to go.
Yeah, maybe so, but I think this is a stonking car, and at the moment we can enjoy our cars with their internal combustion engines, and hopefully, as the manufacturer of internal combustion engines phases out over the next decade or so, then there'll be less pollutants, in the air. We can enjoy cleaner air. And then, just like we can enjoy a steam locomotive or a steam car or a steam traction engine every now and then, belching out lots of coal smoke, we'll be able to enjoy these just very occasionally, proportionally, coming into our towns and cities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
More questions?
Yes. Would you keep a classic car outdoors? And if so, would you use a car cover or would you leave it in?
Would I keep a classic car outdoors? Well, it depends on the car. So cars, maybe from the predating the 1990s, I would say definitely not, actually. I wouldn't keep them outdoors because the seals and everything on the doors and windows are not as good as more modern vehicles. Then down to car covers, I would make sure that I would go for a car cover that doesn't touch the paintwork. I think that's where the problems come. So if you get moisture sort of trapped in between the car cover and the paint, you can get a lot of problems with sort of micro blisters and stuff like that. So personally, I would go for one that has some sort of frame that comes up and over, a bit like a car frame tent, and something that pegs down to the ground to make it a bit more stable. What are your views, Julian?
Yeah, well, I do keep classic cars from the 1990s on my drive. Everything you've said is right. The thing that I'm worried about really is the rubber seals. You're quite right. This is something that I can see slowly and gradually perishing over time.
Yes.
So that is a bit of a concern. Certainly what I do is make sure that mine are cleaned regularly. You've got to get that detritus off them. You can't just leave them there at all. And that means having a good clean all around the wheel arches. You know, you've got to keep on top of them. But car covers, the only time I've ever known friends of mine use them, they've had problems with them. So personally, that's only from, well, third-hand experience. I wouldn't say a car cover's great if you're going to keep it outside for a very long period. In your garage, great, keep the dust off it, you know, stop people just scuffing up against them, but it hasn't worked for friends of mine outside.
Can I add to that? I think you've got to choose the correct car cover, and it depends on what sort of storage you're thinking of. If it's a car and you want it, you know, perhaps it's already in a delicate condition and you've got no other choice, then yeah, put a waterproof cover over it. But I'd always say you need to get air around it. So you need to talk to the car cover manufacturer to make sure that you get the correct one. And you know, just sticking a bit of a tarp over it is not the solution.
No.
Really isn't.
No.
Are you ready for another one? Sorry.
I'm ready. Yeah, we're ready.
So you get used to driving modern cars that beep up on the flash on the dashboard and tell us when you need to service. When you're running a classic car, would you service it based on mileage or time lapse?
When using a classic car, I would base its servicing on time lapse actually. So rather than on mileage, I would go. You know, if you're running a classic car, a lot of people only use them in the spring and summer months, and maybe early autumn. So I would schedule it for a full service every February or March to make sure that it's good and ready to go come the driving season. Now, if you're using your classic car on a very regular basis, and if you're doing more than 3,000 miles per year, I would certainly suggest changing the oil every 2,000 or 3,000 miles, making sure you're on top of that. Regularly check the coolant to make sure that you're not just putting water in, so that you've got coolant with correct corrosion inhibitors in there as well. And also, if you're parking up a vehicle for any length of time, you need to use a fuel stabilizer now, really, as well. So it's, overall, though, I would go on a time-lapse basis. So, just go for a yearly service, a yearly good full service, oil, coolant, all of that kind of stuff, so that you know that you're good and ready to go. And get everything else checked out, all the rubber items, get all the electrics checked out, points, plugs, all that kind of stuff. It's well worth having a car that you know you can jump into, and it's going to be you're going to be able to start it up straight away and enjoy it, because nobody likes to be stood on the roadside, do they?
No.
Right, so now, what's this, eh? Look at this. Now this is a stonking metal flake dune buggy, or a dune buggy if you're from other parts of the world. What do you reckon to this, Julian?
Oh, this is a real eyeful, isn't it? It's a Myers-Manx. So that's the company that made them in period back in California at the time. So if you were going to be as a Baja buggy, racing in the Baja series, these are the kind of things that were being produced back in the early 1970s. This was a continuation of the company. I think this one dates from 2006, I think it is, or something like that.
Yes.
And it just really is good fun.
Right, this does look good fun.
Yeah.
Now, I remember seeing little dune buggies like this. In fact, I had a little friction-powered one, which was, sort of when I was a kid. I think I got it about Christmas 1970.
Yep.
And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So this is kind of a child's eye view of an ultra-cool car in the late 60s, early 1970s. And until now, I hadn't really paid them any attention.
No.
Or not much attention. But now I think these really have come of age. I think this would be a great car to own, I would love to own this, actually.
Snap, so
Yeah.
would I. I really would like this.
And I didn't think that I'd hear myself saying that.
No.
But I would love to own this. I think if I was going to own an air-cooled VW, I'd go for one of these.
Twin Webbers
Yeah.
on this one.
Oh wow.
Yep.
And it's all there to be seen. It's,
Yeah, we've got some proper engineering on shore, haven't we, for a change?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This does look absolutely stonking. What a beautiful car. And yeah, it's actually, though it is in this sort of very, very standout metal flake, it's beautifully, tastefully done.
It's like a magnet.
Yeah.
It just draws you in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. And if you get one of these, if you've got a family, the kids are going to love it.
Look, there's room
Yeah.
for at least two.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
right,
three.
yeah. I think, honestly, what a great looking car.
Yeah, it is.
This is now my air-cooled fantasy. Do we have any more questions?
Well, while we're waiting for some questions to come in, we have a lineup here against the far wall.
Oh, the fast
These are
forward
all
lineup.
fast Fords.
Okay, so we've got right over here by me. We've got a was it 1988?
I think it is, yep.
So it's a Ford Sierra 4x4, and it's got the full
RS.
RS body kit as well. So it's 4x4 gear. What a stonking car to have, and you know, a real period piece. It looks well inside. It's aged well inside. We're looking at an estimate of £9,000 to £11,000. It's a full-on family classic that you can still use. Imagine going on holiday in this, putting your self-inflating tent on top in a roof box perhaps there, and all your cases in the back. You've still got room for all the kids in the back as well. Wonderful. And this one has done how many miles? 64,393. This is a great, fun holiday classic. Imagine going on holiday and then you get to use your classic car while you're on holiday.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
at the same time. And this has got, we said a little bit earlier, didn't we? We've come to the era here in the late 1980s of turnkey reliability.
Yes.
So this is something you don't have to be too afraid of to actually own and use. You know, this could be allegedly used every day.
Yeah, I reckon so. But don't use it every day because it's too lovely to use every day.
too nice.
Now, talking about too lovely.
Oh, well.
Now, here we have. Now, this is a Ford Escort Cosworth, complete with a big tail on there. Now,
Big
this is
turbo.
Yeah, big turbo. This is a stonking car. Now, these cars are now rapidly appreciating in value. This one is estimated at £55,000 to £65,000, which is, on the face of it, a lot of money. But these Fords have great curb appeal, don't they? And great appeal amongst aficionados.
They do. Obviously, it's a WRC poster car from back in the day as well, a homologation special. This is why I chose it as the top of my top three for something that's going to appreciate in value. This one in particular, another thing that helps this car out is the fact that it's standard. This has not been modified in any way whatsoever, and it's got the luxury spec in it as well. We've got the factory sunroof on it, original alloys, original everything. It just is a real treat to see them when they're in this condition.
Yeah, this is a show-stopping car.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, and one that will make all your fellow Ford aficionados very, very jealous indeed.
Green with envy, or
Yep.
blue with envy, maybe is in this
Yeah, that's
particular
right.
case, yeah. Next one in our lineup, lot 54, is this Ford Escort RS2000. And you reminded me earlier, Fuzz, this is a custom.
Yes.
So we've got the fishnets in here on the Recaros.
That's right. Yeah, I know how much you like a fishnet, and very lovely you look in them as well.
Thanks for saying so.
I can absolutely assure you that he does look lovely in fishnets.
Well, there we are. You heard it here first,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
So this one is estimated at £24,000 to £28,000. Now these cars are now rare.
Yeah.
And this is in great shape. It really is in great shape. And I don't really see that many of these around, but they are about. And this is again another car. If you've got money and it's just sitting in the bank, then why not? If you've got a lovely garage and you can keep your garage sort of reasonably ventilated and perhaps heated, this is a great place to go and put your cash.
We're going to have to move on, though, from the Escorts to a very late Fiesta Xr2 injection.
Okay, now I chose this as a car that I would use as an investment. If your pockets are not as deep as necessary for the Cosworth or for the RS 2000 Mark II, then here we have an XR2i. Now this is quite a late one, dated from 1991. An estimate of £4,000 to £5,000. Now I think that is a great little car for that sort of money. So, yeah, put it in the garage and also, use it, drive it. It's a usable classic again from an era when you can use them, and also it will appreciate, perhaps not to the heights of the Cosworth, but people are starting to look at these cars now.
Yeah.
And this one's in pretty good shape here. It's one that you can use and improve, and at £4,000 to £5,000, it shouldn't break the bank at all. I think it's a lovely little period piece, and after all, it's 30 years old now.
That's right, yeah, which is old.
It is, yeah.
Nearly as old as me.
That is, yeah, and yeah. Well, we won't say any more about
No,
that.
thank you for that.
Okay, What about being competition ready?
Well, yeah, all the other Fords that we've looked at, you can use on the road. Here's one for the track.
Okay.
This is a Ford Focus. Now, this one is a ticket to the grid. This was only scrutineered, I think, 3 weeks ago. It last raced. We've got a little bit of a rub mark, haven't we, on the front corner there?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, which shows she was trying on the track. She's clearly competitive.
That's honourable.
Full roll cage in. Like I said, she's been scrutineered. She's fully compliant for racing in the Tin Top Series. And as I said, this is just a ticket directly onto the grid.
Okay, now to prepare a car like this would cost an awful lot of money and take a lot of time. But this one's ready to go with an estimate of £14,000 to £18,000. So if you want to get straight into competition, and I wouldn't advise that unless you've done a little bit of practice to start with, but if you want to go straight into competition, this is a great car for you.
Yep.
All ready to go.
I think it was raced at some point. Is it Gordon Shedden raced this?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it says somewhere. Yeah, Gordon Shedden. The car started life in the British Touring Car Championship in the hands of Gordon Shedden.
Right.
Same car.
Yeah. I think if you're maybe an amateur racer and you want something fun to do at weekends and on various meets, what a great car! Get yourself a trailer, get yourself a tow car, put this on the back, and off you go. Have some fun with it. Yeah, that's brilliant. So that's a pretty good fast Ford lineup,
isn't it?
Yeah. So are there any other questions? I don't think there are. I'm not sure.
Well, that's a tad disappointing. We were hoping for a few more questions from you out there.
Yeah, and but we can't force you into it. You sure you haven't got any more questions? Come on, just one. No, underpants. Nothing about those. Nothing. We got any more questions, Nick? No more questions. Nobody wants to know. We've told everybody.
We obviously have given them all the information overload.
Okay, well, look, let's finish off with a Porsche. So if you want to get into the world of Porsches and you want one that is fully restored and ready to go, then this one, what's the estimate on this, Julian?
This is just, for nothing, £5,000 to £6,000.
£5,000 to £6,000 for a fully restored Porsche. And what a command of the road you will get in this one as well. This is absolutely stonking. And if you live in the country, this is the ideal Porsche for you. So no worries about those muddy roads or anything like that. No worries about the tail end flipping out. You're going to be absolutely fine with this baby. Oh, yeah.
I've told you, Fuzz, this should be a ride-on tractor for the back garden.
What you mean? Put a mower attachment on it?
That's what I'm suggesting. Yes.
Well, it has pulleys on the front end of it. On the front end of the it has front end power takeoff here. So perhaps that means that yes, I think that you could fit a mowing deck on here.
Yep.
So if you've got a large enough lawn, then yeah, get mowing in style on your Porsche. Perfect. I don't have that big a garden.
No, neither do I.
No, but
Mine's full of old cars.
yeah, but you know, even so, I'd give it a go. And you know, you can always aspire towards greater things.
Oh yeah, job done with this, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a great thing. Great bit of fun again.
Right. Any more questions?
Just wanted to mention, they know that you both have history of tractors and buses.
Oh dear.
No, I've never owned a tractor myself, Julian. What about yourself?
No, a friend of mine has an old Fordson.
Yeah?
Which he's in the
Don't call me
process.
son.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm being a bit too familiar, over familiar. Yeah, has an old Fordson. Super Major, I think it is,
Yeah.
which he's in the process of
Is it blue?
restoring. It is blue.
Oh, there
They
you
only
go.
come in that one colour,
See,
don't they? It's
yeah,
like
see, I know my tractors. though.
it's like Ford Model Ts. They're only ever in black. These are only ever in blue. Yeah, but I haven't driven one. Never been
right.
on the implements, on the tools, or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Well, I have driven a couple of tractors, and I like driving a tractor, and I would love to have an excuse to buy one. I think the only excuse you need is I want a tractor.
Is that it?
Yeah, I want a tractor, so I'm going to buy it. That's the way to go with it, really.
Well, Fuzz, keep your eye on this one.
Yeah.
Only 5 to 6, like we've said.
Oh, only 5 to 6.
I know.
Yeah.
It's tempting, isn't it?
It is very tempting. It is very tempting. I'm just trying to think of how I would explain the purchase when I got back home.
Well, that's why I think it's genius to put a more on it.
Yeah.
It is genius.
It is, yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, that's right. I'd then have to flatten an awful lot of hedges just to be able to get it onto the lawn.
Well, that might be just worthwhile.
Simplify life. Yeah, that's true. No, I'm with you, Julian. Yeah, maybe I should go for it.
It's currently showing. I'm trying to look at the map. Is that 000 on there?
Yeah, that has been reset by the looks of things. So I don't know how many miles it's done.
No.
But I think this is obviously showing that it's recently been restored.
Yeah, very recently. Yeah, I was looking for engine hours. I was quite surprised actually.
Maybe that
it
is in hours. Is it? I don't know. Is that?
I
in
can't
hours?
quite. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Is it engine hours?
I don't know.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. See, I don't know enough about tractors.
No, we don't.
No,
There we are.
I've never owned a tractor, but I'd like one.
One more question, if we've got time. Somebody's noticed that you're stood next to a racing car. Have you got any track experience?
Do I have any track experience? Well, I have been on a few tracks here and there, but the only actual, I think, race experience I have, the only thing I've actually competed in has been trialing. Now, I did a trial in a Canon, a 1964 Canon Goldfinger, I think it was, or something like that. And that was, no, not the Goldfinger, no, it was a 1964 Canon, which I borrowed, and that I did in 2020, just before lockdown. And out of a field of 59, I came in 15th with my partner, who happened to be one Mr. Tim Shaw. But we would have come higher if I'd had the bottle to put my foot down. So I do like a bit of competition. I like trialing. I like it because it's a little bit like driving a car where a tractor should go. A little bit like driving a car where a 4x4 should go, but with only two-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So good fun. But have I ever done track days with something like this? No. What about you, Julian?
I have paid for a track day experience. That was with that was quite a long time ago, actually. It was racing Jaguar E-Type.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they were competitive. They were 1 and 2 in the championship at the time. This was
Okay.
at Croft, which is a local track to me up in the northeast. So that was a track experience, and you could pay at the end for an extra. Well, I think it was £20. It was a while ago. £20 for an extra 3 laps, so I had another £100 worth. It was absolutely fantastic. But although I thought I was going 300 miles an hour, let alone 100 miles an hour, reality kind of sunk in that the E-Type wasn't possibly as fast as it could be when a Sierra Cosworth on a separate track event day just flashed straight past me down one of the straights. So yeah, just couldn't keep up with any of the modern machinery at all. But it was great fun.
Yeah,
Great fun.
But you know that really doesn't matter. I don't think. If you're in an older machine, you've got to expect it to go slower. You're not going to be going the fastest.
Oh, it was good fun. It was very twitchy.
Yeah.
You know, in the twisty stuff. Yeah, you needed. I'm no driving god, by the way. No. But it was good fun because it would get a little bit out of shape.
Yeah.
Whereas probably that Cosworth didn't, or not to the same extent.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, you know, of course, I think I am God's gift of driving,
Well,
but I'm probably not. So I would like to give it a try. And I was watching the F1 with my F1 highlights with my son yesterday, and it all looked pretty easy, really.
Did it?
All looks like a game. All those little steering wheels, they
Well-
just look like games now. Is that a challenge? Yeah.
well,
Who's challenging me? I haven't got a car. Somebody needs to give me a car first. Oh, right, okay.
it must be easy because on the F1 they have loads of time to play with all the buttons and everything
they
like
do,
that.
yeah.
So yeah, can't be
Tea,
that hard.
Coffee, with sugar, without hot chocolate. That's what I saw.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us on this Facebook Live. And if you didn't catch us live, then, of course, you can watch this at your leisure later on. And so, yeah, Julian, it's been great talking with you. And, yeah, we're left standing by the Porsche tractor, or in my case, by the fast Ford.
Yeah, I think that's more your style.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know, horses for courses, eh?
Yep. Okay, I'll stick to the tractor then.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. And don't forget, Manor Park Classics. The auction is tomorrow, Tuesday, the 6th of July. And Julian will commence hammering down at
1 o'clock prompt.
1 o'clock prompt. So if you want to bid, that's when you want to do it. And if you want to bid, don't forget to register to bid. You can do it online, do it by telephone. There are lots of different ways. And if you like a bit of automobilia, the automobilia sale is actually on currently, so you can bid now. And don't worry, you won't be sniped at the end, because if somebody wants to snipe you and try and get in before the auction ends, then the auction automatically extends a little bit so that you have time to get a bid in. So do watch out for things. If you are bidding, just watch towards the end just to make sure nobody's being cheeky. All right.
Thanks, Fuzz, for
Thanks,
having me.
Julian. That's all right. We'll do that later.
Look forward to
Didn't say
it.
that.